Nobody, and I mean nobody, saw this coming. One moment, Charlie Kirk's trusted pastor was giving a calm, polished, carefully scripted interview on live TV, and the next moment, he slipped. He said one sentence he wasn't supposed to say. One sentence that exposed everything happening behind the scenes at TPUSA, the secret meetings, the manipulation, the emotional warfare, and the alleged alliance between Erika Kirk and the TPUSA Chief of Staff that the public was never meant to hear about. It happened in less than 3 seconds. The pastor blinked, inhaled, paused, and then the truth fell straight out of his mouth before he could stop himself. There were inappropriate power moves happening between Erika and the chief. He froze. The host froze. The camera froze. Twitter froze. You could literally feel the air leave the room, because this wasn't a rumor page. This wasn't some anonymous DM. This wasn't a slip on a podcast. This was Charlie Kirk's OWN pastor, a man with years inside the inner circle, a man trusted by families, donors, leadership. Staff accidentally outing one of the most explosive TPUSA scandals ever aired on live television. Producers started waving their hands off screen. Someone cut the audio. Another person tried to redirect the conversation. But the damage was done. Clips spread like wildfire. Creators were screaming, "What did he just say? Oh my God." He exposed both of them. This is bigger than anything we've heard. Charlie's pastor is not the type to slip. This is serious. There is nitrogen monoxide way. This isn't real if he said it. But the craziest part? The pastor didn't deny it. He didn't walk it back. He didn't claim he misspoke. After the cameras cut, he whispered into a hot mic, not knowing it was still live online. "I warned them this would come out eventually." And that was the moment everything changed. Erika's name shot to trending. The Chief of Staff's reputation went into freefall. TPUSA supporters were divided. Political wives began panicking. Donors started calling leadership. And for the first time ever, people inside TPUSA began leaking details so specific, so dark, so alarming, that even the loudest Erika defenders went silent. Because according to the pastor and according to the insiders now speaking out, this wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't office drama. It was a coordinated plan, one that involved emotional manipulation, selective alliances, and behind-the-scenes influence, moves designed to shift power inside TPUSA, and maybe even beyond. And the pastor claims this is only the beginning. Long before Charlie Kirk's pastor slipped on live TV. Long before that single sentence set the entire internet on fire. Long before Erika Kirk and the TPUSA Chief of Staff were thrown into the biggest scandal of their careers. The truth had already been boiling quietly beneath the surface. People inside TPUSA felt it. They didn't say it out loud, but they felt it. The tension, the whispers, the strange alliances forming behind closed doors, the emotional shifts happening in the background, the unusual closeness between Erika and certain senior staffers, the weird silences whenever her name came up, the carefully curated image that didn't match the private bavure for months, maybe years. Insiders said something felt off. But nobody expected a pastor, a man trained to be controlled, disciplined, diplomatic, to accidentally spill the secret live on national TV. And to understand why that moment was so earth-shattering, you have to understand the history behind this. Because Erika Kirk didn't enter TPUSA as a regular personality. She entered with charm, with softness, with spirituality, with emotional intelligence so sharp it felt disarming. She became the safe figure, the empathetic figure, the woman who listened more than she spoke, the woman who prayed for people privately, the woman who hugged staffers and whispered reassurance into their ears. The woman leadership trusted. Because she never looked confrontational, never looked hungry for power, never looked like a threat. But the insiders who spoke after the pastor's slip said, that was the mask. The real Erika was planning. And the planning wasn't small. It wasn't for influence. It wasn't for clout. It wasn't even for internal positioning. She wanted control. Not through titles, not through open power struggles, through relationships. Specifically, relationships with certain key men inside TPUSA, men who controlled access, communication, events, donors, and leadership decisions. The chief of staff was one of them. At first, their relationship looked normal, professional, polite, collaborative. Nothing stood out. But then the insiders noticed a pattern. Erika wasn't just collaborating, she was aligning. Every move she made was coordinated around one person, the chief of staff. She followed his cues. She mirrored his language. She defended him quietly in meetings. She recommended people he liked. She discouraged people he disliked. She inserted herself into his decision-making process in ways nobody could explain. And slowly, subtly, the chief of staff began depending on her emotionally, leaning on her insight, absorbing her concerns, trusting her more than anyone realized, the insider said. She built influence the same way a politician builds a marriage with emotional dependency. And that was the first red flag. Because staff noticed whenever Erika was upset, the chief acted unpredictable. Whenever she felt insecure, staff changes followed. Whenever she complained about someone, that person mysteriously lost favor. Whenever she hinted someone was problematic, meetings got quiet and ice dash cold. It wasn't leadership driving decisions, it was Erika whispering through the chief of staff. But the pastor, he knew things even the insiders didn't. Because he didn't just counsel Charlie Kirk, he counseled staff. He heard confessions, he heard frustrations, he heard fears, saw emotional spirals, heard private details about behind-the-scenes dynamics that nobody else was allowed to say publicly. He knew the exact nature of Erika's influence and how far it had reached. Because while Erika appeared spiritual, she used spirituality to gain trust. While she appeared kind, she used kindness to gather information. While she appeared soft, she used softness to disarm people before pressuring them. And then came the darkest shift. Erika began isolating people. Specifically, women. Women who were rising. Women who were confident. Women who got attention. Women who got praise. Women the chief of staff respected. Women who had strong voices, leadership skills, or presence. According to the insider, every woman Erika saw as a threat, she quietly pushed out. She never confronted them directly. She wasn't loud. She wasn't aggressive. She was strategic. She would say things like, "She seems overwhelmed. I'm concerned about her emotionally. I feel spiritual unrest around her. I think she's drifting away from the team. She needs help. I don't know if she's aligned anymore." Soft language, code words, emotional phrases disguised as concern. But behind those soft words was a destructive agenda. Because every time Erika made one of those comments, the chief of staff would shift. His decisions changed. His demeanor changed. His trust changed. And women who had done nothing wrong suddenly found themselves side-lined. One former staffer said privately, she hollowed out the women one by one. It was like psychological warfare with a smile. But why target women? The pastor explained it in his accidental slip, right before the camera cut. She wanted influence through him, and removing women gave her leverage, influence. Through him, meaning Erika wasn't building her own power. She was building his power, because power was the seat she sat in. The pastor said more privately things that later got leaked. Her plan required loyalty. His loyalty. This is where the story turns darker, because Erika didn't just want influence inside the organization. She wanted a two-person power structure where she whispered and he executed, where she felt important and he made her important, where every decision passed through the dynamic they created in secret. But something went wrong. The pastor hinted at it. She became too confident, too bold, too certain she could not be touched. That's when her behavior escalated. She began questioning leadership decisions. She began creating emotional chaos among staff. She began inserting herself into private male-dominated circles. She began influencing event placements, content decisions, and access lists. She began acting like she and the chief were the real leadership team. Then, the final crack. She started targeting someone she should have never touched. A rising female. Staffer with real influence, real intelligence, and real respect from Charlie Kirk himself. Erika viewed her as the biggest threat yet, and the pastor said Erika went for her heart. He didn't say exactly what Erika did, but he said enough. She tried to take her down emotionally, spiritually, publicly, and privately. And that was the moment the chief of staff finally saw Erika's true intentions. He pushed back and Erika snapped. The alliance collapsed overnight, and as soon as the alliance collapsed, the truth spilled everywhere. The chief confided in people. Staff came forward. Screenshots surfaced. Whispers reached leadership. And Charlie Kirk's pastor, who had heard pieces of the truth for months, finally broke under pressure. On live TV, that one slip exposed the alliance, the manipulation, the influence, the power struggle, the emotional sabotage, the breakdown, the cover-ups, the internal division, and the dark dynamic Erika tried to keep hidden on now. The internet knows Erika wasn't just close. To the chief of staff, they were building a shadow leadership team from behind the scenes, and the pastor hinted they were planning something bigger, much bigger. This was only phase 1. What's phase 2? That's what the next section is about. The fallout from the pastor's accidental confession didn't stay contained. It spread like a virus. Within minutes of the interview ending, clips were exploding across social media. People were shocked, confused, terrified, and furious all at once. But inside TPUSA headquarters, it was worse. Way worse. Because the moment the pastor said the words, "Inappropriate power moves Charlie," Kirk's phone started vibrating nonstop. Leadership, board members, donors, senior staff, political contacts, security advisors. Everyone wanted answers, and there was only one question in every message. What exactly did he mean? Nobody wanted to be the first to say it out loud. But everyone thought it. Erika Kirk and the chief of staff had crossed a line that no influencer, no staffer, no insider is ever allowed to cross. But here's the dark part. The pastor's slip wasn't the beginning of the conflict. It was the end of one. A conflict that had been raging behind the scenes for months. It all started with a simple observation made by multiple staffers. Erika and the chief of staff weren't just close. They were strategically close. Their private meetings increased. Their tone changed. Their energy shifted. Their dynamic went from professional to something else, not romantic. This wasn't about romance. This was about power. The insider summarized it perfectly. She didn't want him. She wanted his position, and she needed him emotionally dependent to access it. And it worked. Slowly, the chief began relying on Erika for advice, emotional support, strategic direction, personal validation, spiritual guidance, decision framing, staff assessments, social positioning. He wasn't just listening, he was absorbing every word she said. And with every piece of advice, Erika wasn't helping him. She was shaping him. His language shifted. His priorities shifted. His tone toward staff shifted. His loyalty shifted, and staff felt it immediately. Meetings became colder. The atmosphere became tense. Random decisions felt personal instead of strategic. Talented people were sidelined without explanation. Women who had been pillars inside TPUSA suddenly faced concerns and misalignment accusations. All of it traced back to one person, Erika. According to the insider, she controlled him by controlling his emotions. He trusted her. He confided in her. He led her into spaces nobody else entered. He told her things no one else heard. He let her reframe conflicts in ways that benefited her, and she used that access to wage quiet psychological warfare. Whenever she perceived a woman as strong, she made her problematic. Whenever a woman stood confidently, she framed her as aggressive. Whenever a woman gained influence, she said she was spiritually unstable. Soft words, gentle phrases, deadly impact, and the craziest part. The chief believed her because Erika played her role perfectly. She cried when she needed to. She whispered when she needed to. She expressed concern at all the right moments. She asked soft questions that planted sharp doubts. She didn't look like a manipulator. She looked like a victim, a guide, a friend. But the pastor? He knew exactly what was happening because staff had come to him months earlier with disturbing confessions, confusion, emotional exhaustion, constant pressure, strange comments, manipulation from someone close to leadership. He couldn't say anything then, but he KNEW. And as the conflict grew behind the scenes, Erika's strategy escalated. She started questioning staff resumes. She commented on people's marriage issues. She inserted herself into conversations that had nothing to do with her role. She pushed for access to donor lists. She tried to influence who got hired, who got promoted, who got removed, and the chief of staff. He approved almost everything she suggested. Then came the tipping point where the conflict turned from internal to explosive. A high-ranking female staffer, someone extremely respected, was suddenly accused of causing division. Except she didn't, the only person making the claim. "Erika," she whispered, "she's cold. She's disrespectful to leadership. She undermines authority. Feel something spiritually wrong around her. She tried to isolate him from me. Think she's competing with me? Competing. This wasn't a job role. This wasn't about titles. This wasn't about responsibilities. This was about Erika. Fighting for emotional real estate. She wanted to be the only woman with influence in the chief's orbit, and every other woman was a threat. The pastor said to someone later, she wasn't protecting him. She was eliminating competition. The chief took Erika's side. Meetings shifted. Her influence tightened. The respected staffer found herself boxed out. She was sidelined emotionally, spiritually, and professionally. That was the first major internal explosion. Staff noticed. Tension rose. People took sides. The chief plus Erika versus every other woman. It was subtle at first. Then it wasn't. A staffer leaked a message saying, "Never seen someone destroy relationships this quietly. She tears people down with a smile." But the real conflict began the night. Leadership finally confronted the chief. They asked questions he wasn't ready to answer. Why? Was Erika attending meetings she didn't belong in? Why was she speaking on issues outside her role? Why were multiple women reporting the same manipulation patterns? Why had the culture become toxic only around her presence? Why were staff decisions suddenly influenced by private conversations with Erika? The chief defended her. He denied everything. He dismissed the concerns. He insisted she was misunderstood. He insisted she was emotionally sensitive and spiritually gifted. He fought for her heart, and that is when leadership realized something terrifying. He was under emotional control, and Erika knew it. That night, after the confrontation, something snapped inside her. She cornered the chief privately. Insiders described it as a darker shift. She panicked. She begged. She manipulated. She redirected blame. She cried. She threatened emotional collapse. And then she made her dangerous mistake. She blamed the pastor. She said he was against her spiritual calling. She said he was misinterpreting God's plan. She said he was jealous of her. Influence. She said he was turning leadership. Against her, she attacked the one man who knew the full truth. And the pastor said later, in a private conversation, that was the moment she revealed her real motive. She didn't. The second insider, someone who had stayed silent for months, someone who had seen more than anyone realized, someone who had access to conversations neither the pastor nor the chief ever heard, someone who had direct visibility into Erika's real objective and, more importantly, the identity of the person who had been quietly feeding her instructions. Because Erika didn't mastermind everything alone. She didn't escalate the manipulation by herself. She didn't attack female staffers on impulse. She didn't cultivate influence solely through spiritual softness or emotional dependency. She had help. Real help. Strategic help. Dangerous help. And the second insider was ready to talk. It all began 2 nights after the pastor's slip, when screenshots started circulating inside private TPUSA group chats. At first, they looked harmless, blurry photos, partial messages, nothing concrete. But then a single screenshot leaked with full clarity. A message from an unknown number to Erika that said, "Stay calm. We knew this moment would come. Just follow Phase 2. Phase 2. Phase 2 of WHAT." The staff group chat instantly exploded. What is Phase 2? Follow IT. Meaning this was planned. Who is sending these messages? Is this the same person from the earlier leaks? What was Phase 1? And then the part that chilled everyone. We knew this moment would come. Whoever this man was, he wasn't surprised by the pastor's slip. He wasn't panicking. He wasn't hiding. He expected it. That one sentence told insiders everything. This was not a crisis. This was a timeline. The pastor's slip didn't expose the plan. It triggered the next part of it, and now everyone wanted to know, who is the we? Who is the strategist behind Erika's behavior? Who built the phases? Who was orchestrating the chaos? And why did he think Erika could still salvage something so catastrophic? That's when the second insider came forward. They contacted a mid-level TPUSA staffer at 1:17 a.m. with a chilling message. I know who Phase 2 was designed for. And it wasn't Erika. This changed everything. Because for months, people assumed Erika was the center of the drama. But the insider said something scarier. She wasn't the mastermind. She was the distraction. Then they dropped a voice note. The staffer who received it said they had to replay it 4 times just to process what they were hearing. In the voice note, the insider explained, Erika was the emotional weapon. She was chosen because she looks harmless. She looks spiritual. She looks soft. People don't suspect someone like her. But the real architect? He's someone deeply embedded in the political ecosystem. Someone who knows how to use people. Then came the reveal. He recruited Erika. Recruited. That one word flipped the entire narrative upside down. This wasn't random manipulation. This wasn't emotional chaos. This wasn't jealousy. This wasn't insecurity. This was strategy. The insider continued. He spent months teaching her how to influence decisions, how to approach leadership, how to emotionally guide the chief, how to destabilize certain staff, and how to get close to key political wives. And then the insane bomb. He told her that if she could control the chief, she could control the organization. The chief wasn't the end goal. He was the access point. But the most disturbing revelation came next. He told her that the pastor was the biggest obstacle, so the plan was to discredit him. This explains why Erika suddenly turned against the pastor. Why she framed him as jealous of her spiritual gifts. Why she claimed he was blocking her calling. Why she accused him of misinterpreting God's plan. She didn't decide that on her own. She was told to do it in the voice note. The insider said he wanted the pastor out of the way because the pastor sees through people. He was the only one Erika couldn't manipulate. Then came the sucker punch, and Erika wasn't the only person he was coaching. There were more young women, more emotionally vulnerable personalities, more rising figures, more quiet manipulators, a network of women being shaped to infiltrate influence spaces. Not romantically, not publicly. Emotionally, the insider said. He called them vessels, as if they were empty containers he could fill with strategy. The staffer who heard this voice note said they felt physically sick. A second screenshot leaked shortly after, an old message from the unknown strategist to Erika. When you enter a room, soften yourself. Men trust softness. Women fear it. That's where your power is. Another, you're not competing with their work. You're competing with their presence. Another, remember, influence never comes through confrontation. It comes through closeness. Then another, the chief trusts you because you reflect what he needs. He wasn't just giving advice, he was programming her step by step, emotion by emotion, technique by technique. And the worst part? The insider confirmed, Phase 1 was Erika infiltrating through emotion. Phase 2 involves someone else infiltrating through diplomacy. The strategist had a second woman, someone polished, educated, poised, already being positioned for the next T stage of influence. Erika was Phase 1. She was the raw emotional test. The one to see how far manipulation could go. The one to observe leadership's weaknesses. The one to identify which men were vulnerable to influence. The one to destabilize internal structure. Phase 2 was the evolution, bringing in someone much more dangerous. Someone who wouldn't crack under pressure. Someone who wouldn't panic on live TV. Someone who wouldn't get caught. And that's when the most horrifying part of the leak emerged. Phase 2 wasn't aimed at TPUSA. It was aimed at Washington, the insider revealed. He wants to place someone inside a rising political family. Not romantically, strategically. Erika's mistake wasn't her ambition, it was her execution. She moved too fast. She got too emotional. She became too obvious. She targeted the wrong wife. She underestimated the pastor. She underestimated how many people were quietly observing her. But the strategist, he didn't make emotional mistakes. He had already moved on. The insider said, he's already grooming someone new to replace Erika. And here's where the twist hits. This new woman is already known in political circles. She's already been seen photographed beside key politicians. She's already gained attention for her poise. She's already being invited into spaces Erika never touched. And the insider says she has no idea she's being used. But she's perfect for Phase 2. And that was the moment the internet realized Erika wasn't the villain. She wasn't the mastermind. She wasn't the final boss. She was the pawn of a man with far bigger ambitions. The insider's final message in the voice note. Phase 2 is active. You won't see it until it's too late. And that sent the entire internet spiraling. Because the strategist, the real orchestrator, is still inside the movement, Erika fell. The chief fell. The pastor exposed. Everything but the mastermind. He hasn't said a single word. He hasn't slipped. He hasn't panicked. He hasn't been named. He hasn't been leaked. His identity is still hidden. But the insiders know when he is exposed. TPUSA, and maybe more than TPUSA, will never recover. In Phase 3, nobody knows yet, but it's already moving, and that is the real nightmare. The moment the second insiders leaks hit private channels, the public meltdown went from dramatic to historic. This wasn't trending drama anymore. This was the kind of scandal that rips through every corner of the internet at the speed of shock. Because the public didn't just learn that Erika and the chief had a manipulative alliance, they learned there was a strategist behind it. A mastermind. A man intentionally grooming women to infiltrate political influence. Spaces.Twitter went nuclear. Creators weren't just reacting, they were screaming. Into their cameras, one creator slammed his desk mid-live stream. This is not normal influencer drama. This is a political PSOP. Another said, "I'm sorry, but the fact that this man called women vessels. Yeah, I'm finished. I'm done. Arrest someone." Another. No way TPUSA had a grooming pipeline to emotionally infiltrate leadership. Nitrogen monoxide. Way. Threads began forming instantly, hundreds of them, all dissecting screenshots. Mapping connections, identifying patterns. Comparing Erika's behavior with every other rising female inside conservative media. People pulled up clips of Erika speaking. People zoomed into body language. People analyzed interviews. People studied her tone, her facial expressions, her sudden influence spikes. People compared the timeline of the chief's shifting behavior with Erika's internal positioning, and every new video went viral. But the wildest reaction came when someone made a chart titled Phase 1 versus Phase 2. The pattern of influence, it broke the internet. Millions saw it. Millions shared it. Millions screamed in the comments. This is literally a cult strategy. She was trained. He was using her to test the boundaries. Phase 2 is happening now. Oh my God, who is the new woman? Then Instagram Reels flooded timelines with creators whispering, "This is bigger than Erika. This was engineered." Even the entertainment gossip pages, the ones that usually cover cheating, breakups, and celebrity beef, pivoted instantly. They posted headlines like, TPUSA manipulation scheme. New insider claims Erika was groomed as emotional infiltrator. Chief of staff manipulated through strategic affection. Phase 2. Who's the next woman being used? Pastor had no idea how deep this went. Comments were out of control. This is a political soap opera. I've never been this invested in anything in my life. Someone please call Netflix. This is a show, but the political world. Their reaction was far darker. A well-known commentator tweeted, "If these leaks are real." Someone was attempting to infiltrate political families using young women as pawns. That is beyond unethical. It's dangerous. Another political strategist wrote, Phase 1 was emotional infiltration. Phase 2 is political infiltration. This is not drama. This is a threat. A Senate staffer posted anonymously, "You don't understand how serious this is." If a political strategist was using women to manipulate leadership, this is not a scandal. This is a national security vulnerability. And the wives reacted. The wives? Every political wife in Washington and conservative media pulled out their phones and started texting each other. Screenshots leaked of group chats. Was she ever around my husband? Did she ever try to isolate us? Was anyone else being targeted? Is Phase 2 happening in our circles? Some wives posted vague Instagram stories. Women like this are why we guard our homes. Trust your instincts, always. You can feel when someone enters a room with bad intentions. Hey. And the most brutal one? Some women are sent, not invited. That sentence alone broke the internet. Then the conservative women with platforms chimed in. A well-known female commentator said, "I've dealt with manipulative women who hide behind spiritual language." The pattern described, absolutely real. Another said, when a man coaches women to infiltrate influence circles, that's not mentorship. That's exploitation. A political wife tweeted, "If my husband ever became a target of something like this, there would be consequences." The line there would be consequences. Went so viral, people started printing it on memes, but nothing matched the reaction inside TPUSA. A leaked voice memo from a staffer revealed the internal atmosphere. Everyone's terrified. People are whispering behind closed doors. Nobody knows who the strategist is. Nobody knows who the Phase 2 woman is. Leadership is panicking. Donor calls are non-stop. Charlie Kirk is furious. That voice memo alone got millions of views. People started theorizing. Is Phase 2 someone we already know? Is she already in Washington? Is she being positioned beside a rising political candidate? What if the strategist is planning to influence the 2028 race? Does Charlie Kirk know who it is? Is the pastor safe? Journalists began publicly demanding clarity. Fox News contributors tweeted, "If a pastor is hinting at internal manipulation, this must be addressed," Newsweek wrote. TPUSA faces internal crisis after pastors slip and damaging insider leaks. Then a reporter for Daily Wire said, "If the mastermind is still active, he could be shaping political narratives right now." And then the biggest industry reaction of all, Joe Rogan. He posted a cryptic message on Instagram. "I've been contacted by people who know more than they're saying." Internet lost its mind. Joe knows something. He has the info he's waiting for. Confirmation? He's going to drop everything. Creators started making breakdown videos. Joe's silence is loud. He's collecting evidence. T doesn't want to jeopardize the investigation. He might expose Phase 2. And through all the public chaos, the strategist, the mastermind, not a single word, not a single post, not a single denial, not a single slip, not a single reaction, silence. Because the man behind Erika doesn't panic, doesn't break, doesn't reveal, he watches, he waits, he moves, and according to the insider, he is already preparing his next step, his next woman, his next target, his next circle, his next political household, and the world is watching with one question burning. When Phase 3 hits, will anyone be able to stop him? For days, the world thought the scandal had peaked. Erika exposed. The chief exposed. The pastor's slip replayed millions of times. Phase 2 confirmed. The strategist's messages exposed. Screenshots everywhere. Analysis everywhere. Chaos everywhere. But the truth, the real twist, was still hiding in the shadows. Because while everyone was dissecting Erika's downfall, and the internet was burning with theories about the mysterious strategist, and creators were arguing over who the Phase 2 woman might be, the mastermind behind everything was already executing the next stage of his plan. The second insider, the one who leaked the voice note, contacted the same staffer again at 2:41 a.m., shaking, terrified, and breathless. Their message opened with 5 words: "Phase 3 just activated early." The staffer wrote back instantly, "What does that mean?" The insider responded, "You weren't supposed to know yet." Nobody was. Then they sent a screenshot, a message from the strategist to someone whose name was blurred. "It's time." The attention is off you now. Begin the positioning. Begin the positioning. The pastor's slip wasn't a disruption. It was a distraction, a diversion, a perfect shield, while the world thought. Erika's scandal destroyed the strategist. It actually covered him, protected him, allowed him to move undetected because the entire internet was focused on Erika, the emotional pawn, the unstable manipulator, the one who got sloppy, the one who panicked, the one who imploded. But phase 2 and phase 3, they were never about her. Phase 1 was Erika being used as a test. Phase 2 was the new woman being coached quietly. Phase 3, that's where the strategist gets exactly what he wants. And now, the insider was about to reveal the most horrifying twist. The strategist didn't just want influence over TPUSA, he wanted influence over a political marriage, a political household, a rising political figure with national traction. Not a senator, not a representative, not a broadcaster, someone bigger. The insider typed slowly, as if scared someone was watching them type. He's aiming for someone with 2028 potential. The staffer froze. 2028 potential. That meant presidential potential, a rising star, a political darling, a public favorite, someone already being floated for higher office. The insider continued. He believes if he embeds the right woman into the right household, he can influence the next generation of American politics. The staffer's hands were shaking. They asked, "Who is the woman?" The insider sent a blurred photo. The outline of a polished, elegant young woman. Someone already familiar to political circles. Someone photographed at major events. Someone who had recently been showing up beside key political figures, quietly, subtly, unnoticed by the public. Then the insider wrote, "She doesn't know she's being used. She thinks this is mentorship." And the strategist, what was he doing now? Then the insider added, "This is bigger than TPUSA. This is bigger than Erika. This is bigger than the pastor's slip. This is about someone trying to shape the political future of the country." Meanwhile, the strategist remained silent publicly. No posts, no comments, no reactions, no defense, because he didn't need to speak. Too much was happening at once. Erika was absorbing all the public heat. The chief was absorbing all the internal fallout. The pastor was dealing with the backlash of his slip. Wives were panicking. Commentators were distracted. Joe Rogan was collecting evidence. Conservative media was spinning. Creators were theorizing. The perfect cover and the final twist, the one that left the entire internet frozen, came just before dawn. The insider sent one last message he told someone yesterday. The difference between Erika and the new one is simple. Erika wanted power for herself. The next one will carry my power. Y-O-U-R power. Then they added, he doesn't want to influence the movement. He wants to own it. The staffer asked, "What do we do? How do we stop phase 3? The insider replied, "You can't, not yet." Before the staffer could respond, the insider sent one final line. When phase 3 goes public, everyone will realize Erika was never the story. She was just the warning. And then the insider went offline. Completely deleted. Gone. Leaving the internet with one final, terrifying thought. If phase 3 is already in motion, how long before the mastermind steps into the spotlight himself? If you made it to the end of this breakdown, one thing is crystal clear. This story is nowhere near finished. Erika was just the opening scene. The chief of staff was just the collateral damage. The pastor's slip was just the spark. The second insider was just the alarm bell. The strategists plan phase 1, phase 2. Phase 3 is still moving like a shadow in the background. And now the biggest question falls on you. Who do you think the mastermind really is? Who do you think the Phase 2 woman could be? Is she already inside a political household? Is she already gaining trust? Is she already being positioned near someone with 2028 potential? Or worse, is Phase 3 further along than any of us realize? Because if the strategist's goal is what the insider warned, if he truly wants access to a future political administration, then we are witnessing the beginning of one of the most shocking psychological operations ever attempted inside conservative politics. And trust me, more details are coming, more insiders will speak, more screenshots will leak, more political wives will come forward, more creators will dig deeper, more journalists will uncover connections, more cracks in the story will reveal themselves. Because once a plan like this gets exposed, it never stays buried. So here's what I need you to do. Scroll down right now and tell me your theory. Do you believe the pastor slipped accidentally? Or did he know it was time for the truth to break? Do you think Erika was a victim?